So what I'd like to do is show you how the absorption plots can be generated if you're using Excel. We've had a few questions about that, and hopefully this will help people as they try and prepare those plots. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Part A plot where we're taking the %T values that were collected at different wavelengths. So in order to set this up, what you want to do is you want to, in one column, in this example, column B, have the nanometer values, the wavelengths that were used, and then in the C column, you have the %T values. So those are the values that were collected during the experimental portion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to left mouse click and highlight those two columns of data. Now go to the top, click Insert, go over to the Charts area, and I'm going to select a scatter chart. So I'll click on that. And the one I want is this second one, Scatter with Smooth Lines and Markers, because I want to connect the dots, so to speak. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and I have my plot. Now, there's a few things I want to do to this plot to make it look a little bit better. The first is I'm going to click on this plus chart elements box, and then I will check the axis title, and then I'll go ahead and enter an axis. We can see here on the left, the y-axis is highlighted, and so there I will put in %T, and then click check to OK that. I'll click on the x-axis, and then that is nanometers, and say OK there. So now I have my chart title left to do. So I'll click on that, and I'm going to type in yellow, since that's the color that I'm plotting, and I have my plot. One other thing I'm going to do to make it look a little bit better is we see here that the x-axis goes from 0 to 600 nanometers. Well, from 0 to 300, I don't have any readings, so I'm going to get rid of that. So if I left click on the axis, then right click on that number, I can then do Format Axis, select that, and I see some more information comes up here. And so I can change the minimum from 0, I'm going to change it to 300 nanometers. And now you see it adjust that. And so now I'm finished with that plot. Whenever you plot in Excel, the x-axis data is always the first column and the y-axis data is the second column. So let me go ahead and close that out, and let's go to the second part. If you recall, the second part, we wanted to in the second part, we wanted to plot concentration versus T, 1 over the square root of T, and minus the log of T. But we collected our data as %T. So once again, the left column is the x-axis, concentration values that were given in the lab. The C column is %T. Those are the readings that you took when you did the experiment to measure % transmittance for each of those concentrations. To convert %T to T, we'll divide by 100, because remember, % just means that you multiplied a value by 100. So we'll set that up by saying equals this value in the %T column divided by 100. I say OK to that. So now that's converted it from %T to T. The next column we'll go ahead and do. So once again, equals 1 divided by, and now for this, I'm going to go up to the top for formulas, click on that, click on Insert Function, and I'm going to look for square root. So here's square root, SQRT. I click on that, say OK. It asks me what number I want to take the square root of. I'll select the cell that has my T value this D19 cell. I click on that and say OK. So now it's calculated 1 over the square root of t. And then the final one is minus the log of t. So I'll say equals minus, go back up to my insert function, look for log. Here it is, log. I'll select that. And then it asks me what number I want to take the log of. Once again, it's t. So I click on that D19 cell and ask me what base is. So the base, it's a base 10 log, so I'll type 10 in and say OK. All right, so now I've got values for t, 1 over square root of t, and minus the log of t. So let me go ahead and I will highlight those three. I'll do a right mouse click and do copy. And then I will highlight the other cells. Once again, right mouse click and do paste. And it fills in those values. So now I have the data I need to do my 3 plots. So we'll highlight the concentration values. While holding the control key down, I'll highlight the T values. I'll go back up to insert. I'll go to charts. And I'm not going to have the one where the lines are smooth. I'm going to do the scatter plot. Because the reason for that is I'm going to want to do a line fit equation there. So let me put this over here, similar to before. I'm going to I'm using yellow as the dye that I use, so I'm going to put yellow in for the chart title. I'm going to format chart. So I click on that, I check my axis title box, so then I can put, for the y-axis, it's T, x-axis is concentration, accept that, and then I'm going to left mouse click onto one of the data points to highlight those, then right mouse clicked, and I'm going to do add trend line. I want to make sure it's linear. Scroll down and check the boxes for display equation on chart and display R squared. I'll go ahead and drag this over to get it off of the line. So there's my plot for T versus concentration. Now let's do the concentration and 1 over T. Once again, I highlight concentration, hold the control key down, and highlight the data from 1 over square root of T. I go up to insert, and I choose that scatter plot. I'm going to drag this out of the way so I can see my data. Click that. I want to have my axis titles. So remember, this is y-axis, this is 1 divided by square root of T. Chart title, I'll say is yellow. X-axis is concentration. And then I will left click onto the data points and right click to add trend line. Make sure it's linear. Go down and add that R squared and equation. Once again, I'm going to move this so it's not on top of the line. And then the final plot, once again, concentration, highlight that, and then highlight minus log T. Insert. And I get my scatter plot. Let me move it down here so I can see it. I'm going to close this out. Axis titles. So this was minus log T. This is concentration. And chart title is yellow. Okay, once again, I'm going to left click on the data points, right click to add trend line, make sure it's linear. I want to add the line equation and the R squared. And those show up. I'm going to just drag this over to the side. And so now I have my 3 plots. Now, when I'm trying to figure out if something is proportional or not, what I'm looking for is, as the concentration increases, does the response increase? And in this case, I see for minus the log of T, it does. I also see 1 over square root of T, it does. For T, it does not, it goes down. So now with the other thing I ask myself is if I had, does the plot indicate that if I have 0, do I get 0? This one does. This is trending out of coming out of 0 and going up linearly. This one is not starting at 0. So this minus log T plot is the one that is most proportional, is the one that's proportional, and that's the one I'm going to select. I hope this helps.